Metal crashed against concrete at 2,200 hours. Helen Carter collapsed, blood trickling from her forehead. Pathetic. Jake Morrison towered over her. Marines are trying to eat, and you're making a mess. Useless old hag. 5 Marines laughed. Maria Santos kicked Helen's ribs. Maybe it's time to retire, Grandma. Helen, 58, slowly pushed herself up. Her gray eyes calculated something beyond the moment. 2,203 hours, she whispered. 12 knots, 3 exits, 6 targets. What did you say? Jake frowned. The lights died. Complete darkness swallowed the mess hall. A voice emerged, heavy Eastern European accent. Good evening, Phantom 6. I've been waiting 28 years for this moment. Helen's hand shot out, stopping Jake's phone light. Don't. 7 Marines and 1 old cleaning lady, the voice continued. Perfect odds. But Helen wasn't panicking. In pitch darkness, she moved with fluid precision. Boot patterns, she whispered. Size 11. Spetsnaz training. 3 operators. How can you possibly know that? Jake's voice cracked. Helen guided him to cover with unexpected strength. Stay low. Don't move. Colonel Richards entered with 2 MPs. The takedown was swift. All 3 hit the ground, unconscious. Helen tore strips from her uniform. Applying pressure to Richards' head wound with practiced efficiency. How do you know medical procedures? Jake whispered. Lucky guess. Outside, Captain Torres arrived with a squad, but doors wouldn't budge, sealed with magnetic locks. Inside, Helen guided the Marines through darkness. Kitchen freight elevator. Old model, analog backup power. Clav wouldn't have thought to disable it. Clav? You know who this is? The voice taunted. I disabled that exit first, Phantom. Helen smiled in darkness. I'm not running Victor. I'm hunting. She tapped Morse code against a water pipe. In a secure station, an intelligence officer's eyes widened. Ghost protocol active. It's Phantom 6. Helen removed her janitor cap, a wig. Underneath, military precision hair. 2 coming from left, Helen said calmly. Flashbangs in 3, 2, 1. The explosion came. Helen had positioned everyone behind cover. She moved like liquid shadow, a mop handle snapping into 2 batons. The first operator dropped silently, nerve strikes to exposed wrists and neck. Starting to notice something unusual about Helen, the second operator went down in 2 seconds. Outside, Sergeant Mills watched through windows. That movement pattern, Bosnia 95. Phantom 6. But that whole unit died in Operation Amberstar. Inside, Clav's frustration grew. Enough games. You're older now, slower, and alone. Helen guided them to the walk-in freezer. Gas leak. For minutes until combustible. He's forcing us into the open. Standard Spetsnaz tactic, page 47. Who are you? Derek Chin demanded. The person keeping you alive. Security footage was being reviewed frantically. Sir, Helen Carter died in 2010. Whoever this is, she's using a stolen identity. Clav's voice echoed. Your handler sold you out. How much did Moscow pay you to disappear? Helen's tactical smartwatch glowed softly. She checked it, continued moving. The third operator had been waiting. Helen's kitchen knife sailed through darkness, pinning his sleeve to the door frame without injury. Warning shot. The next one won't miss. Inside the freezer, Jake watched her transformed bearing. You're not really a janitor, are you? I've been a janitor for 15 years. Before that, I was something else. Morrison? Your grandfather, Timothy Morrison, served with me in the 75th Rangers. He saved my life 4 times in Bosnia. The freezer door buckled. Clav appeared, older, scarred, lethal. Tell me, Phantom, do they know about the massacre? The village you destroyed. That wasn't a village. It was a trafficking processing center. 43 traffickers, 0 civilians. Derek's phone showed classified files. Ghost Team 6, Operation Amberstar. 6 operators. Status, Kia. All confirmed dead. But you're here. 5 bodies were recovered. The 6th they claimed was mine belonged to a trafficker. The DNA test was faked by someone who wanted me to disappear. Because I knew too much. Helen moved to the back wall. finding a forgotten maintenance panel. This leads to loading dock. 30 meters crawl. Jake was last to go. What about you? I'll be right behind you, Helen lied. That's not true, is it? Your grandfather understood that sometimes one person has to hold the line. Go now. That's an order, Marine. Helen sealed the vent behind him, then faced the thermal lance cutting through the freezer door. Alone at last, Phantom, Klav said in Russian. Not quite. You forgot about the ghosts. Helen triggered emergency CO2 suppression, flooding the area with white gas. In the chaos, she moved. Mills, watching from outside, saw it through the window. One moment, white gas. The next, Klav was down, Helen standing over him. Pentagon's on the line. They're asking about Phantom 6. Through the clearing gas, Mills saw Helen's torn shirt. The tattoo, Ghost Recon in Gothic letters above a skull wearing a Special Operations beret. Operation Amber Star with coordinates. 3 purple hearts, a silver star, Distinguished Service Cross. And the number 6. Tell them confirmed. Phantom 6 is alive. Jake and the others burst in as doors were forced open. Helen stood calmly. Klav and his operators were zip-tied, unconscious but breathing. Colonel Richard struggled to his feet, saw the tattoo, and saluted. It's an honor, ma'am. Jake pushed through, tears streaming. Ma'am, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. You couldn't have known. I made sure of that. I've been Helen Carter, janitor, for 15 years. Before that, Lieutenant Colonel Helen Morrison, commander of Ghost Team 6. Morrison, you have the same name as my grandfather. He took his wife's name when they married. He was honoring his promise to me, to make sure the Morrison name lived on after I was supposedly dead. Maria Santos Soto Frozing. The stories about women in special operations started with you. Not the first, just the first they couldn't classify out of existence. My team saved 300 children from trafficking rings in Bosnia. The military wanted to bury it because it implicated high-ranking officials. They gave me a choice, die a hero or live as nobody. 4 service chiefs arrived in helicopters, Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force. They walked straight to Helen. Hello, 6. We thought you were dead. That was the idea, sir. Why activate the protocol now? Klav found me, which means others can. And he mentioned Hydra, 47 embedded assets. The country needs to know. The president authorized full reinstatement. Your rank, back pay, full honors. Helen shook her head. I'm done with killing. These kids need training. Real training for when everything goes dark. The Ghost Protocol Academy. We've had plans for 20 years, waiting for the right person. I have conditions. Open to all branches. Women get equal consideration. Focus on protective operations. And I choose my first candidates. She looked at Jake. After everything he did, you're choosing him? Your grandfather would never forgive me if I didn't give you the chance to be better. Besides, you have his eyes. Maria stepped forward. Ma'am, could I? Would you consider me? Everyone deserves a second chance. Santos. Even bullies who kick old women. Klav spoke bitterly. Hydra won't stop. They'll come for you. Helen knelt to his level. Let them come. I'm tired of hiding. In Russian. Tell your handlers Phantom 6 is dead, but Helen Carter is very much alive, and she's going to train an entire generation of ghosts. Jake approached hesitantly. My grandfather told stories about a warrior who moved like smoke. He left me something for her. He pulled out a wooden box containing a challenge coin with Ghost Team 6 insignia and 6 names. He carried this for 20 years. Said the 6th ghost was still out there, still protecting. Helen held the coin tightly. Tim was more than my spotter. He was my conscience. They died because I made a choice. Save the children or save my people. I chose the children. You made the right choice. Those children are adults now, with families of their own. I know, but knowing and feeling are different things. The base erupted in applause. Helen looked uncomfortable. If we're doing this academy, one more condition. No publicity, no media, no glory. Ghosts don't seek spotlights. As Helen walked into the night, Jay called out, What happens now? Now we get to work. Your grandfather said the hardest battles aren't fought with weapons, but with wisdom. The academy opens in 2 weeks. Don't be late. 3 years later, Helen testified before Congress in her janitor's uniform. "Why that outfit?" a senator asked. "Because this is who I really am. Not Phantom 6, not Lieutenant Colonel Morrison. I am Helen Carter, janitor. And if a janitor can teach Marines to navigate darkness, imagine what else we're capable of when we stop judging by appearances." The funding was approved unanimously. As they drove from the Capitol, Jake said, "Your grandfather would be proud of us, of what we've built from the ashes of who we were." The Ghost Protocol Academy had grown to 17 bases. Graduates had prevented 17 terrorist attacks, rescued 43 kidnapped victims, identified over 100 foreign assets, all without headlines. Yet Helen still cleaned the Camp Pendleton mess hall 3 nights a week. Not because she had to, but because she chose to. Because transformation begins with humility. And sometimes, late at night, new Marines would come in, young, drunk on their own importance. They'd see an old woman with a mop and act tough, dismissive, cruel. Helen would simply smile, because she knew that one day, these same Marines might learn what Jake Morrison had learned, that the most powerful person in any room is often the one nobody notices. That true strength isn't about being seen, but about seeing others. She had become living proof that anyone could be more than they appeared. The janitor who was really a legend. The ghost who was never really gone, just waiting in the quiet spaces for the right moment to teach others to navigate the darkness, both outside and within. In that darkness, they all found their light. Not a blinding spotlight, but a steady flame that could guide others home. A light that cast shadows where guardians could hide. The ghost was never really gone. She was just waiting, mop in hand, for the next transformation to begin.